Ugh, the preacher sounds weird and everybody's staring at me. What am I gonna do about it? Today I'm gonna show you how to train your ear to EQ a preacher quick and easy. I'll even throw in some compression at the end. Hey, if you're new here, go ahead and hit subscribe and ding the little bell to get notified every time I post a new video. I'm here to help you make every church service enjoyable. So voices are hard enough to EQ, but then we throw in lav mics or headset mics and things just get really tricky. On top of that, some preachers don't want to do a sound check. And I get it, they want to be in the zone. They're not just trying to be difficult. But that puts extra pressure on us to do a great job and to do it quickly. If you've got a pastor that won't sound check, I've got a tip for you at the end. Remember, our goal here is clarity and intelligibility. If it doesn't have to sound big and huge, but it should not be distracting so that people are listening to what's being said rather than how it sounds. The cool thing is that you play a critical part in helping the gospel be heard, because faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God. So if you like doing that part of your job, go ahead and mash the thumbs up down below. So the first thing you have to do is know how a normal voice sounds. Now, we've been hearing voices all our lives, but have you actually sat down and thought about what it sounds like in the different frequency ranges? How warm is it? How boxy is it? How nasally is it? How much sibilance is there? You need to start paying attention to all these things to hear what a well-balanced voice sounds like, so that when you push up that fader, you know what you're looking for. But even after you know that, there's some things that are getting in the way of a great sound between the microphone and the speaker system. In your room are natural reverb and reflections that color the sound. So even if it sounds great in headphones, it might not sound great through the speaker system. So how do you listen for that? So one solution I came up with was to listen to the Craig Groeschel Leadership Podcast. Not only is he a teacher, so it sounds like what you might hear on Sunday morning, but it's recorded in the studio, so you're not going to get a whole lot of room reflections from the source. Try boosting different frequencies between 200 Hz and about 10K. As you push up those frequencies, you'll hear what each one sounds like, and you'll hear what your room is doing to the sound as well.
You're the senior pastor, you're the YP, you're the youth pastor, you're the NIWWLL, the new intern who won't last long. I don't know what your title is, but the big first thought, and we're going to look at 6 in the next 2 episodes. Number 1, I want to encourage you to expand your title to include CPS. You're not just the CFO or the CIO, you're also the CPS. Since you're the leader, you're the CPS. What does that stand for? You are a chief problem solver. That's what you are. Expand your title to see your role as the CPS, the chief problem solver. In other words, solving problems isn't something that you dread, it's something that you do. It's who you are.
To take it up a notch, you could have a friend boost the EQ while you're not looking, and you have to guess and see what frequency it is. To start off, just go in octaves. So start at 250, 500, 1K, 2.5K, 5K, and 10K. Then after you start to identify those frequency ranges, you'll be able to dial it in a whole lot quickly when you hear some weird resonance when somebody speaks into a microphone. So if you're actually gonna do this and not just scroll through Instagram for the next 30 minutes, go ahead and type practice down in the comments below. Today's drink of the day is LaCroix. I'm not really a huge fan of the narrow cans, or really the mixed flavors, but it's what I got, and I'd rather drink it than not. So if you have a pastor that won't sound check and there's a lot of pressure to get it right quick, try to find somebody with a similar face shape to go on stage and stand where they stand and speak into the microphone. Now, it won't sound like their exact voice, but it will give you an idea of what frequencies could start to feed back so you can notch those out before you start. Now, it's also important to make sure that anything that's reflective is up there as well, either a podium, a music stand, or even them holding their Bible in front of them. Reflections cause comb filtering, and comb filtering can cause feedback, and feedback makes a sound tech solo. And we don't want a sound tech solo. Now that you've got the EQ dialed in and things are starting to sound natural, we can apply a little bit of compression. Now, some preachers are really dynamic, and some preachers are not very dynamic. The not very dynamic ones, I'm just trying to even out the little accents in their voice so that it stays even and consistent. 2 or 3 dB of compression here is plenty. I'll use a ratio of around 4:1 and an attack time between 10 and 15 milliseconds. Now, unlike singing, speaking syllables happen faster, so I'm going to speed up the release time to about 50 to 100 milliseconds. Now, if your preacher is extra dynamic, you might want a lower ratio or at least use a soft knee. This way, when they're at their normal tone, they're just touching on the compression, but when they really go for it and hammer home a point, you've got that ratio of 4:1 or even higher to push down on that signal. One way to tell if it's too much compression is if it sounds small when it should sound big, or if it sounds really in your face, but then when you pull back the fader, it seems to disappear. If you run into that, just raise your threshold and try again. If you liked these tips and want to set up your sound team for success, download my free guide, How to Lead Your Church Sound Team. The link's down in the description below. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and mash that button, ding the little bell, and be sure to share this with a friend. We'll see you back here next time on Attaway Audio.